Hello everyone. This is the second video in the series of childhood traumas and toxic parenting. This is probably going to be the longest video of them all. This one is going to cover quite a bit of stuff, and hopefully it will bring some awareness to the case or to the cause, and help everybody start rebuilding their life and overcoming the traumas. So, how to heal from toxic parenting. It's one thing to be dipped in venom by those you don't really care about, but when it's by a person who is meant to love you, hold you, and take the sharp edges off of the world while teaching you with love, wisdom, and warmth, and how to do it for yourself, it changes you. There is a different kind of hurt that can only come from a toxic parent. It's kind of like being broken from the inside out. The scarring and hurt that comes from a toxic parent probably isn't something we talk about enough. None of us are perfect, including our parents, but there is a point at which imperfect becomes destructive, taking away from children the love, warmth, and nurturing they deserve and replacing it with something awful. When children are raised on a diet of criticism, judgment, abuse, and loathing, it's only a matter of time before they take over from those parents, delivering with full force to themselves the toxic lashings that have been delivered to them. Toxic parents come in many shapes. Some are so obvious that they can be spotted from space through the eye of a needle. Some are a bit more subtle. All are destructive. A toxic parent has a long list of weapons, but only come under the banner of neglect or emotional, verbal, or physical abuse. Toxic parents lie, manipulate, ignore, judge, abuse, shame, humiliate, and criticize. If you get an A, they want an A+. You get an A+, they will wonder why you're not class president. If you become class president, they will say that your brother or sister would have been a better one. They will push you down just to criticize you for the way you fall. That, or they will shove you off a cliff to show the world how well they catch you. They oversee childhood with no warmth, security, or connection. Any negative behavior that causes emotional damage or contaminates the way a person sees himself or herself is toxic. A toxic parent treats his or her children in such a way as to make those children doubt their importance, their worth, and that they are deserving of love, approval, and validation. If you are hearing this and thinking, well, yeah, my parents did that, but only because they love me, then the chances are that parent was a toxic one. The truth is that you, like everyone else, every small person on this planet, deserves love, warmth, and to know how important you were. You're not useless at life. You've bought into the messages that were delivered by the parent, too broken to realize what they are doing, but it doesn't have to stay that way. It is possible to heal from toxic parents. It begins with the decision the legacy of shame and hurt left behind by a toxic parent won't be that way, or won't be the way your story will end. So how do you heal from a toxic parent? 1. It's okay to let go of the toxic parent. This is such a difficult decision, but it could be one of the most important. We humans are wired to connect, even with people who don't deserve to be connected to us. Sometimes, though, the only way to stop the disease spreading is to amputate. It doesn't matter how much you love someone, they are broken to the point that they will only keep damaging you from the inside out. You're not responsible for them or for the state of your relationship with them, and you are under no obligation to keep lining yourself up to be abused. belittled, shamed, or humiliated. Healing starts with expecting more of yourself, and you are the only person who can make that decision. 2. And it's okay not to. Don't be harsh on yourself if you stay in the relationship. The act of returning to an abusive relationship can trigger self-loathing. Why aren't I strong enough? Know that loyalty is such an admirable trait, even if it gets in the way of your capacity to protect yourself. Own where you are and give yourself full permission to be there. Accept that for now, this is where you're at, and fully experience what that's like for you. You'll never love yourself enough to change your expectations if you're flogging yourself for not being strong enough. It takes tremendous strength to keep walking into a relationship that you know is going to hurt you. When you're ready, you will make the move to do something differently. For now, though, wherever you are is okay. 3. Be honest about the possibilities. If you're going to stay, know that it is okay to put a boundary between yourself and your parent. You can act from love and kindness if you want to, but don't stay in the relationship unless you can accept that the love you deserve will never come back to you, ever. If it was going to, it would have reached you by now. See their behavior for what it is, evidence of their breaks, not evidence of yours. Put a force field around yourself and let their abuse bounce off. Love yourself and respect yourself enough to feel that they bleed dry. They might not be capable of giving you the love and respect you deserve, but you are. 4. Be careful of repeating the patterns with other people. You might find yourself drawn to people that have the same similarities to your toxic parents. There is a good reason for this. All of us are driven to find an ending to things that remain unresolved. Because love, warmth, and nurturing are such an important part of child development, yet so elusive for the child of a toxic parent, it's very normal for these children to be driven to find a resolution to never feeling loved, secure, or good enough. They will look to receive what they didn't get from their parents and others, and therefore drawn to people with similarities to the toxic parents. The decisions are not conscious ones, so to move towards healing, the automatic thoughts and feelings driving the choices need to be brought to awareness. If this is something that's familiar for you, it's possible that you are being drawn to the wrong people because they remind you of your toxic parent, and somewhere inside you, where your wanted things stay hidden, is the wish that you'll get from them what you weren't able to get from your parent. Look at people in your life and explore the similarities they have with your own parents. What do they do that is similar? What do you do that is similar to the way you are in your relationship with your parents? Which needs are being met? What keeps you there? The more awareness you have, the more you can make deliberate decisions that aren't driven by historical events. Number 5. Own your right to love and respect. One of the greatest acts of self-love is owning your right to love and respect from the people you allow close to you. You're completely entitled to set the conditions for your relationship, as others are free to set their conditions as well. We all have to treat those we love with kindness, generosity, and respect if we want the same back. If these conditions are not met, you're allowed to close the door. You're allowed to slam it closed behind them and lock it up tight. 6. Be careful of your own toxic behavior. You have been there, so you know the behaviors and you know what they do. We are all human. We are all going to get it wrong sometimes. Toxic behavior, though, is habitual, and it will damage the members of your own little tribe as surely as it damaged you. You don't have to be the product of an inept, cruel parent that was shown to you. And this starts with the brave decision that the cycle stops at you. People who do this, who refuse to continue a toxic legacy, are courageous, heroic, and they change the world. We are here to build amazing humans, not to tear them down. How many lives could have been different if your parent was the one who decided that enough was enough? 7. You are allowed to make mistakes, and you are allowed to do it on your own. You may have been led to believe that you're not enough, not smart enough, beautiful enough, funny enough, strong enough, capable enough. The truth is that you are so enough. It's crazy how enough you are. Open yourself up to the possibilities of this and see what happens. You don't need to depend on anyone, and making mistakes doesn't make you a loser. It never has. That's something you've been led to believe by a parent who never supported you or never gave you permissions to make mistakes sometimes. Make them now. Make plenty. Heaps. Give yourself full permission to try and miss. There will be hits and misses. You don't even know what you're capable of because you've never been encouraged to find out. You're stronger than you think you are. Braver, better, smarter than you think you are. And now is your time to prove it to yourself. Number 8. Write a list and get yourself a rubber band. Write down your beliefs that hold you back, the ones that get in your way and stop you from doing what you want to do, saying what you want to say, or being who you want to be. Were you brought up to believe your opinion doesn't count, that parents are always right, that you're unlovable, unimportant, stupid, annoying, incapable, worthless? Now, beside each belief, write what that belief is costing you. Has it cost you relationships, happiness, freedom to be, freedom to experiment, to explore? Then write, or rather rewrite the script. Thoughts drive feelings, behaviors, what you expect for yourself and what you expect from relationships and world. How are you going to change these beliefs? Just choose one or two to start with, and every time you catch yourself thinking the old thoughts, actively replace it with a new, more self-nurturing thought. Then act as though the new thought is true. You don't even have to believe it at first, just pretend it is. Your head will catch up when it is ready. If it is difficult to break out from the old thoughts, try this. Wear the rubber band around your wrist. Every time you catch yourself thinking the old thoughts, give the band a flick. This will start to train your mind to let go of the old thoughts that have no place in your life anymore. You just need a little flick. You don't need to hurt yourself. Your old thoughts have been doing that long enough already. There is no right or wrong on this. All the answers, strength, courage you need to do what is right for you is already right there inside of you. You just need to give yourself the opportunity and the reason to hear it. Number 9. Find your shoulds that shouldn't be. Shoulds are the messages we take in whole from childhood, school, relationships, society, etc. They guide behaviors automatically, and this can be a good thing. I should be around people who respect me, or not so good. I should always be nice. Take a close look at your shoulds and see if they have been swallowed with a spoonful of poison. Our shoulds come from many years of cultivating and careful pruning. so that when that should is fully formed, it directs you so automatically that you don't even need to think. It's likely that the should that keeps you stuck has come from the person who wanted to keep you that way, where you brought up feelings indebted to your parents, like you owe them, like you will never cope if you separate properly from them. Were the messages delivered to keep you small, quiet, hidden? Believing the messages may have worked when you were younger, steering you away from their foul mood or toxic consequences, but it doesn't have to be that way now. Don't pick up from where they left off. You're older now, with different circumstances and in a different environment. Bring your shoulds out into the open so that your actions can be more deliberate. If your shoulds are working for you, love them, keep them. Otherwise, let them go. 10. Nobody is all good or all bad. Don't be guilted by that. One of the things that makes ending any relationship so difficult is that there will be traces of exactly what you want. Even toxic parents can sometimes be loving, warm, or nurturing, though it's mostly, if not always, done to further their own agenda. In the same way that being a little bad probably isn't enough to sever an important relationship, being a little good isn't enough reason to keep one. Zoom out and look at the bigger picture. If you feel miserable in the relationship more than you feel good, question your reasons for staying. If it's because your toxic parent is old, frail, sad, or lonely, that might be all the reason you need to stay, and that's okay. If it is, own the decision in strength and put limits on contact or how much you will give to the relationship. You are entitled to take or give as much as you decide to the relationship. Just whatever you do, do it deliberately, in strength and clarity, not because you are being manipulated or disempowered. The shift in mindset seems small, but it's so important. 11. Build yourself up. Toxic environments are toxic to the brain. We know that with absolute certainty. The human brain is incredibly adaptive, and in response to a toxic environment, it will shut down so as to protect itself as much as it can from the toxicity. When this happens, as it does during prolonged periods of emotional stress, the rate at which the brain produces new neurons slow right down, ultimately making people vulnerable to anxiety, depression, cognitive impairment, memory loss, reduced immunity, loss of vitality, reduced resilience to stress, and illness. Research has shown that migraines and other pain conditions are more prevalent in people who were brought up in abusive environments, though the exact reason for their relationship is unclear. We also know with absolute certainty that the damage can be turned around. Diet, such as omega-3, green tea extract, blueberry extract, reduced intake of processed sugar, and unhealthy carbohydrates. Exercise, such as anything that increases the heart rate, meditation, yoga, etc., will help to rebuild the brain and heal the damage done by toxic environment. Increasing neurogenesis will help build resilience, cognitive function, vitality, and protect against stress, anxiety, and depression. Healing from a toxic parent starts with deciding that the lifetime of messages that have left you hollow or scarred are wrong, because they are. It means opening a heart that's probably been closed for way too long, and receiving the love, approval, and validation that has always been yours to own. Sometimes it means realizing that parents break too, sometimes irreparably, sometimes to the point of never being able to show love to the people in their life who deserve it the most. Sometimes it means making the brave decision in strength and with the greatest self love and self respect to let go of the relationship that's been hurting you. Breaking free of a toxic parent is hard, but hard has never meant impossible. With the deliberate decision to move forward, there are countless turns your story can take. Brave, extraordinary, unexpected turns that will lead you into a happier, fuller life. It's what you've always deserved. Be open to the possibilities of you. Now, some traits of the toxic parent: lacks empathy, disrespects boundaries, never apologizes, invalidates feelings, mocks, belittles you, self-absorbed, never takes responsibility, manipulative, emotionally immature, controlling, lies to you, abusive, and makes you feel confused. And a safe, loving parent: cares about your feelings, accepts you for you, takes responsibility for their mistakes, respects your boundaries, promotes your self-esteem. They are trustworthy, emotionally mature. It's okay to disagree with them. Good communication, validates your experiences, makes you feel safe, makes you feel acknowledged and heard, and makes you feel loved.